Scientists are working on a real-world Dune Stillsuit to help astronauts pee in space when science fiction becomes science fact. And the quote here is, building a real-life stillsuit was always a bit of a dream. So, of course, as the planetologist Liet Kynes explained, a stillsuit is basically a micro sandwich, a high-efficiency filter and heat exchange system. The skin contact layer is porous. Perspiration passes through it, having cooled the body near normal evaporation process. The next two layers include heat exchange filaments and salt precipitators, salts reclaimed. Motions of the body, especially breathing and some osmotic action, provide the pumping force. Reclaimed water circulates to catch pockets from which you draw in through this tube in the clip at your neck. Urine and feces are processed in the thigh pads. In the open desert, you wear this filter across your face, this tube in the nostrils with these plugs to ensure a tight fit. Breathe in through the mouth filter, out through the nose tube. With a Fremen suit in good working order, you won't lose more than a thimbleful of moisture a day. I know this has been examined before. Obviously, I mean, this would, in the actual real-world circumstances in the desert, this would be very helpful. It's not very pleasant to think about. I don't think a lot of fans really think about that when they see the still suits, especially when they're watching the movies and TV shows about what's actually going on in there. It's actually interesting to see its real-world application for this sense as far as astronauts are concerned. And this is an article from IGN. Scientists from Cornell University are developing a real-world version of the stillsuit featured in adaptations of Frank Herbert's sci-fi epic Dune, which could be used by future astronauts as they embark on missions to the International Space Station, the Moon, and beyond. And then we have the brief explanation. In order to live on the brutally dry world of Arrakis, the humans inhabiting Herbert's fictional desert world were forced to develop specialized clothing designed to capture and recycle every drop of the body's moisture for reuse. These stillsuits prevented moisture loss while filtering the body's sweat and urine to provide drinkable water, which would allow the Fremen people to thrive under the harsh glare of Arrakis' star. The impracticality and astonishing expense of shipping fresh water to the ISS has led to the orbital outpost being equipped with a life support system that recycles 98% of the crew's wastewater. However, during spacewalks, astronauts have no choice but to relieve themselves in high-tech adult diapers known as maximum absorbency garments. I didn't know this. You learn something new every day. Or if I did know, I don't know. I didn't file that away for important information. Maximum absorbency garment. It's not a diaper. It's called a mag, which are worn between the suit and the crew member's bare skin. As you can imagine, this has the potential to be pretty unpleasant experience. And not a pleasant thought to even think about wearing a still suit to begin with in this way. But yeah, all of your body's waste has to be recycled. And this actually really speaks to the absolute harsh conditions of Arrakis, because you can't waste even a drop of anything that your body excretes because you need that to live. I mean, it really hits you in the face how awful it is to live here, to live and let alone thrive there on Arrakis. That this would be necessary. Not pleasant, and they definitely talk about the smell and the sieges. So yeah, but you know, they get used to it. You become nose blind to those things. Yeah, not very sanitary or in that respect, and so it was at risk for infections for the astronauts wearing the mag. I guess this is what it would look like. The stillsuit backpack. That's the picture of it. These are the important questions, by the way. Everyone wants to know what's going on with the astronauts and how they do their business. Yeah, they explain, I've been a fan of the Dune series for as long as I can remember. Building a real-life stillsuit was always a bit of a dream. The water is sent to an 8-kilogram filtration backpack that uses osmosis to purify the liquid, removing uric acid, ammonia, calcium, and urea before enriching it with electrolytes and sending it back into the suit's water supply. Delicious. According to the design posted in journal Frontiers in Space Technologies, the system will be capable of purifying 500 milliliters in around 5 minutes while using less than 10% of the spacesuit's energy. Obviously doesn't look as cool as the stillsuit, but as long as it works the same. NASA has started selling spice. Well, we are in that timeline. Dune takes place in our own future. Didn't Alan Shepard famously pee in his spacesuit while waiting on the launch pad for clearance to launch after a long delay? Huggies was deemed inappropriate for astronauts. They needed the industrial size. Would be fun to have this on Earth. What are the power requirements, I wonder? Well, it said it would use less than 10% of the spacesuit's energy. This would enable astronauts to boldly go. In my opinion, the nose plugs look silly and won't make much difference without the mouth or eyes covered. I think they should either have omitted them or had whole face masks in the films. Yes, I think that basically how the still suit is supposed to fit over the majority of your face. So yeah, I think your eyes would be uncovered. And I think also when you're out in the deep desert, in the harshest of environments, there was very, very strict discipline for that when you're out in the open desert, and less so drastic measures when you're in the sietches and other places. So it was a hood and cap. I believe that to be really close to the skin. And yeah, you have your nose plug and the breathing mask over that. And there's been changes when it comes to adapting it to film and TV. Probably want to make it look a little cooler. The sci-fi miniseries is not good, unfortunately. That was a bit disappointing how they make still suits look. Very cheap, and it looked like one layer. But overall, they did try their best, but they were limited. You could tell in their budget. But they did have the cap and they had the face mask. Overall, they tried to be faithful. Those are the probably the worst design. I know people are partial to David Lynch's stark black design, and I think that's cool. It has the costumes for David Lynch's Dune are really, really good. Yeah, but I did like the newest adaptation. I think they looked pretty good in that. I like the colors and the details were really good. I think my only issue was the shoes. And I think the gloves. The shoes and the gloves looked like you could buy them at Academy or something. They look like gloves and shoes you could pick up at any outdoor store. The sci-fi minis were basically stage plays, yes. Probably the most faithful, I would say, in terms of the story, which is good because, yeah, they were limited by their TV budget. I will hand it to them that the sandworms looked really good for the technology that they had at the time. But yeah, when they're out in the open desert, it's especially glaring that you could tell that they're on a little stage play set and just the painted background of the desert. When they're inside, when they're indoors, that's fine. The sets look okay. But yes, that stage play feel to it. So that's why I got it referred to it as doing the theater play, the stage play. But still really good. It has its charm, definitely. Love the sci-fi minis. I can easily overlook budget issues in favor of the thoroughness of the adaptation and excellent amount of screen time for the Fremen storylines and culture. And, you know, they had to. Without having that cinematic budget and everything, they had to rely more on the story, and they definitely did that. Honestly, I think Dune is just more fitted toward a longer format, that longer TV series format. And hopefully down the line, we'll get another series adaptation. I think the sci-fi Dune miniseries based their still suits off the art from the Dune encyclopedia. It just didn't look like it had layers to it. It just looked cheap. If you didn't look that closely at it, what you did see was pretty faithful. They had the cap. You could tell that there were some tubes on there. It was very, very simple. But even with that, I'd say they did an admirable job trying to be as faithful as they could while working with their limited budget. They spent too much money on hats. Take it easy on the hats and maybe put in some more effort into the still suits. So I'm just saying.